Welcome to Lemoore City Council Chambers located at 429 C Street. This is the September 29th meeting. Please silence all electronic devices as a courtesy to those in attendance. Thank you. If you could please stand for the invocation by Chaplain Davis and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, we thank you, oh God. We thank you for this day that you've allowed us, oh God. And we ask you, oh God, for your presence, oh God, even in this place, oh God. We ask you, Lord, to bless each and every issue that's dealt with in this meeting, oh God. We ask you, Lord, to bless each and every council member, each and every individual that's in this building. And oh God, may we do your will. May what you want accomplished be accomplished. And we will give you glory and honor and all of the praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
This site's broken
Marissa, roll call.
and we can't afford to fix it apparently.
Councilmember Garza.
Here.
Councilmember Lyons.
Here.
Councilmember Orth.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gornick
Here.
and Mayor Matthews.
Here.
Thank you.
Agenda approval, additions and or deletion. Study session 1-1, Rotary Club of Lemoore. Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening, Council. I made a promise to City Manager Olson that I'll keep it 10 minutes. As this body knows, I like to talk, but that's because I'm one of Rotary's biggest cheerleaders. I'm here to proudly represent the Rotary Club of Lemoore and share a couple updates about our 65-year history and unveil the launch of our new website. As you can see on your screens in front of you and those watching at home and those on the audience on the screens, the Rotary Club of Lemoore has taken seriously how it engages with the public. And our old website, while sufficient to bring that message across what we do, we wanted to be more engaging, have that interaction with the public and those in attendance. So when the first thing I want to present is our home screen. As you can see, it has our mission, literacy for Lemoore and water for the world. I'm not going to go over every detail of our website today, but I am going to use this as a tool to share a narrative of our impact. And if Maritza, you can please hover over our impact on the top and click on local. There's no better place to start than our local projects and the things that we've done for our community here in the city of Lemoore. And the first thing on there is our dictionary project. To date, and it's about to go more, we're waiting for the dictionaries to come actually in the next 2 weeks or so. Our Rotary Club has donated 11,616 dictionaries to every third grader in the Lemoore area. And these schools include Meadow Lane, Lemoore Elementary, Engvall, Cinnamon, Freedom, Island, Stratford, Central, the two base schools, Nurture and Acres, as well as the two private Christian schools, MIQ and King's Christian. In addition to that, we've built beds for children in need. To date, we've built 93 beds. In the past 3 years, we've raised $18,600 for this project alone. Madam Mayor had the opportunity to go on one of our bed builds, and I invite the City Council, City Manager's Office, and City staff to participate in future bed builds with us. Pictured here, you can see our most recent bed delivery from spring of this year. Because we don't only build the bed, we provide the mattress, the comforters, the pillows, new blankets, and every child gets a handmade quilt from Lemoore Rotary to show that we care. And they get to pick out the sheets as well, whether it be Spider-Man, SpongeBob, or Barbie. I know that's popular nowadays. You can have that customization, that personalization that really brings the message home. And if you scroll down, you can see another recent project of ours where we donated school supplies. Our club regularly donates school supplies. This is pictured from the latest school drive that the city hosted that was unveiled at the end of summer bash. Our club donated over $700 worth of school supplies, featuring our nice little logo stickers as well. And next to it, you can see the end of summer bash, where we provide barbecue support for the community, where we grilled over 1,000 hot dogs and handed them all out for free.
That's a good looking barbecue.
It's a great looking barbecue. I wonder who it might belong to. Shout out to the fire department, of course. And Maritza, if you can scroll up and hover over community on under our impact. Thank you. You can see other impact that we have in our local community. Our Rotary Club is unique compared to other Rotary clubs. We sponsor an Interact Club, which is basically junior high school level Rotary. This is a picture of last year's interactors who were helping out at our crab feed. More to come about that later in the evening. And you can see that we give them community service hours, not only because they needed to graduate, but because it sparks that vision in them and shows them that community service can be fun and fulfilling. Next to that picture, you can see the WAPI project that we have our interactors do. What a WAPI is, it's a water pasteurization indicator. It's a cheap device, and I don't say cheap to diminish its effect. It's an affordable tool to tell if water is safe to drink. And we distribute these all over the world as well as nationally. And to date, we've built thousands of these. Before COVID-19, the most recent project pictured, we built 200. And if we scroll down a little bit more, you can see some of our other clubs. Rotaract, we're currently trying to revive its college level Rotary. I was in it myself when I was a proud Golden Eagle, go to Golden Eagles. And next door, you can see community cleanup. We're constantly looking for ways to serve our community and help clean up the streets. And scrolling down more, you can see one of our bigger, more staple projects, the Youth Plaza. I'm currently in communications with the city to explore new ways that Rotary can help expand this project and improve it for the future. And scrolling down more, you can see how we support recreation, and we're continuing to explore those avenues of service, seeing what we can do to help grow our rec department and provide services for our youth. And if we scroll down a little bit more, you'll see a fancy picture of the mayor and our parks department manager at our most recent engagement. I mentioned that I'm Rotary's biggest cheerleader for our club, but shout out to the Lemoore High School cheerleaders who helped us at the end of summer bash, passing out those hot dogs, wrapping them in foil so they stay hot and warm and delicious for y'all. It is important that we give children and youth an opportunity to serve and get the community service. Again, not just because it's a requirement, but because it's fun and it's interesting and it makes an lasting impact. We also heavily support our police department. I want to thank the chief for being here tonight to see the shout out. And we also support other volunteer groups such as Lemoore Christian Aid. This is only a snapshot of the impact Rotary has had most recently. It's impossible to list all the projects, though I tried, but I really want to go all the way back to the top of the page and go to impact statistics, which is on the very bottom. No, you're hovering over it. Yep. There you go. Thank you. We've seen the pictures, we've heard the narratives, and we compared recent examples, but what does Lemoore Rotary's impact look like over 65 years? We've talked about community service. Our club members have had 1.3 million community service hours over our 65-year history. We've donated and invested $1 million to the community, and that's continuing to grow. And not only when you make a donation or go to our crab feed or write us a check, do we use that money for community causes? We seek out grants. We partner with other Rotary clubs, and we try to amplify that funding and get as much money as we need to carry out these missions and projects. We have 25 active projects, 29 members, 5 active scholarships. This past academic year, we've given out 7. 12 literacy project schools, which I listed earlier in the evening. And again, the 11,000 dictionaries. We have 15 Paul Harris Fellows. 15 of our members have joined a society where they regularly donate $1,000 a year to Rotary to help make these causes a reality. And scrolling down, you can see the beds that I was mentioned before, 93 plus beds. 60 of those our members personally built with their own hands. The other remaining are still under construction because we don't just do singular beds. We also do bunk beds for families. We customize the bed so it's unique to the child, and that's able to be customized so as the child grows, they can still have that bed in their life. We have 60 quilts finished by our club members alone. And our club is also unique because we collect quilts for the state and the region for Rotary. We've collected over 350 quilts. And not only that, we donate 50 plus books a year to local school libraries as part of our Read Across America campaign. And in addition to that, during the pandemic, when students were at home on Zoom for school, our members hand-built 26 desks and brought them to their house so they have a learning space that they can use. 44 wheelchairs were donated with us and other Rotary clubs in Guatemala. Our vice president here tonight who participated in that trip, and he was featured in some of the pictures you saw earlier tonight. And we've built 13 widows' homes homes in Africa for women who no longer have a husband or someone in their life so they can stay safe and their children can stay safe. In addition to that, we have 12 plus active water projects in the community. What can you do to support Lemoore Rotary? If you click on Crab Feed, which is to the right of the screen, thank you. This is the easiest and fastest way to participate in our club. Come to our Crab Feed. Madam Mayor and other members of the council can attest, the food is delicious. It's all you can eat. And if you look at me, you can see I like to eat. But it's beyond that. Your money has an impact. It builds those 93 beds. It sponsors those widows' homes. It sponsors those scholarships. It makes a difference in a child's lives, and our community's lives, and the world's life. Our club, and I'm not trying to be a little braggadocious about it, is famous because of the impact that we make in the world, in our community, and we're very proud of it. Our Crab Feed will be Saturday, November 4th, 2023. Hosted at the Rec Center. We're proud to have that venue be it. We are very proud of our community, and I encourage you to sponsor our Crab Feed, not only to come and enjoy the food, the fellowship, the family, but to see what we do, come together as a community and help us invest more in Lemoore. I didn't mean that for the, I didn't even mean that for the rhyme, and that was just the perfect saying. If you can scroll up a little bit, Maritza, this is where I'll have my closing remarks. If you can click on our sponsors, donors, and partners, and click on our sponsors. I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors who have made tonight possible, our impact possible, and continue to invest in our club. Gordon and Tanya Scott, Surf Ranch, Lambert Enterprises, Lemoore Grocery Outlet, Newman Garcia Studios, Garcia School of Sports Photography, Lemoore Real Estate, Lemoore Tire and Auto, Mighty B and Alex Walker, Rebecca's Espresso, and Lemoore Best Buy. Thank you to our sponsors. And if anyone in the audience is interested in being a sponsor, contact us. If you're interested in volunteering with us or your child needs community service hours, contact us. If you just want to have a free lunch and see what Rotary does, contact us. I yield my time to the council. I appreciate the opportunity to present, and we're here to serve not only for 65 years, but for 65 and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think you might have went a little bit over the 10 minutes, but it's okay. We'll forgive you. Did anybody have any questions or comments for Mr. Walker about the website or Rotary?
Yeah, Alex, as a former Rotarian, I want to tell you, this was a wonderful presentation that highlights what you did, what the club continues to do for Lemoore. And it really is a nice model for civic engagement. And so congratulations to you and the Rotary members.
Thank you, sir.
Putting it together. Great job.
And if you'd like to be an active Rotarian again, please contact us.
No, thank you. It's easier to buy tickets.
Anyone else on council?
Yeah, Alex, good job, bud. That was, I can't believe how fast you could talk. But you got a lot of information in there, and I really appreciate that. That was good.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you did good.
Thank
Really
you.
good.
I'll just echo what my council member said. It's very nice to be able to see on your website exactly what you guys do and what you do in the community and how easy it is we know kids are always looking for opportunities for volunteer hours. So thank you for putting that out there, that you guys are ready and willing
We'll
to
put
take
in the
them.
work.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for what you do. Appreciate it. Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on. Closed session. Item 1, Government Code Section 54956.9, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 or 3 of subdivision D of section 94956.9, one case. With that, we'll go ahead and go into closed session. Thank you guys for being so patient and waiting. Thought we were gonna come out to an empty chambers, but you guys are still here. So anything to report from closed session?
Nothing to report, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Moving on to public comment. Public comment will be in accordance with the attached policy. This time is reserved for members of the audience to address the city council on items of interest that are not on the agenda and are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. It is recommended that speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes each, and it is requested that no comments be made during this period on items on the agenda. The council is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda. Prior to addressing the council, any handouts for council will be provided to the city clerk for distribution to the council and appropriate staff. Public will have an opportunity to comment on items on the agenda once the item has been called and is open to the public. Is there any public comment?
No, because everything's on the agenda.
All right, is there any online? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on. There's no ceremonial presentations, department and city manager reports.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight, first up tonight's Chief Kendall.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I have a few things to put out. Officer Ellsworth will be sworn in again this Thursday at 10:00 hours. Officer Ellsworth had left our agency less than a year ago and has since decided to return to us because we had a vacancy and because he left in good standing. We're more than happy to have him back. So if you want to go to his swearing in, it's 10 o'clock on Thursday at the police department. With school being back in session, our PAL after school program is up and running. PAL meets on Mondays from 2:15 to 2:45, and then on Wednesdays, it's held at 3:15 to 4 o'clock. And then that's the after school program portion. And then CrossFit Kids follows right after that. Then lastly, the Lemoore High School will be holding their homecoming parade on Friday, October 6th at 4 p.m. And Lemoore PD will be assisting in that route and parade duties as usual. Thank you.
Oh, I got a quick question. How would you assess our relationship with the district attorney?
We have open lines of communication.
Do we?
Yeah.
What kind of communication? I mean, are we able to, when you make arrests, are we being influenced by this no bail issue that's going around the state?
No,
No?
no.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Good. Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but you know.
No, not at all.
Mm.
Not at all.
Thank you.
Did we talk to everybody? The grass isn't greener. Just stay with us.
We get a lot of people coming back,
That's good.
you
That's
know.
good. Grass ain't greener.
Okay, good evening, and a couple things out of my office. The Helena plans are done and approved. We're just waiting on a couple things to get final pricings together so we can get them going out there. Had several meetings this week. Homeless Collaborative was one of them. And they announced during the meeting that there's an encampment on Human Shepherd and Hanford. They're going to be relocating all those individuals off that property on Tuesday. So there's about 100 to 150 people staying there currently. So they're trying to get some of the different programs over there to help these people find a place to go and assist them in the movement there. And another sheriff meeting, that's the economic development. There's many millions of dollars. We're part of a 4-county group. So we're still putting together our final plans for submittal to try to get funding for Kings, Tulare, Fresno counties on that one. Planning Commission meeting was last Monday. Nothing really to report out of that. Did an audit on NHC. As you know, when they were awarded their contract, they had agreed to pay about $24,000 a year for public benefit. And that audit shows that they're deficient. So I'm working through that with them, but I'm expecting to get a check from them. And then I was going to come to council with a couple ideas, but one of the ideas is maybe use some of that money to clean up some of the palm trees at Heritage and Veterans Park. So that's coming. There's some funding coming in there. And I will be out of the office the rest of the week attending the League of California Cities. So Assistant Manager Spear will be available, and I'll still be available via phone as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Can I ask Frank a question, or is he up next? Are you gonna?
Frank, just come up here. He's gonna ask anyways.
Frank, the citizens on Cambria Lane would like to know when that water project is gonna be complete.
So we received 2 quotes. We should get one more. I think we have a deadline tomorrow. And once we get the 3rd quote, we'll give them direction to repair the line. So pretty much the ductile iron is failing. It's deteriorated, so they're gonna replace the fire hydrant run from the fire hydrant location to the water main. So about 60 feet of
That's
60 feet of
it.
pipe. Yeah.
Okay,
So hopefully we'll get somebody out there within the week to start.
just a suggestion.
Mhm.
You guys did a good job of noticing everybody that there's gonna be work done. That was about 3 weeks ago.
Mhm.
You know, an update with the same mechanism, a little poster saying, you know,
When the job will be
yeah, when you
completed.
can expect to be done, yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll just put something on the website too, maybe, or some, I don't know.
I don't
Well,
know.
we'll notice the people that were served, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Good, thank
we'll
you.
do, no problem.
One thing I did fail to mention is it's a little warm in here, so we did lose the east unit on this building. The first quote was 16,000, so per our policy, anything over 10, we have to get 3 quotes. We're in the process of getting 3 quotes to be able to repair the or replace an air conditioner on the council chambers.
Makes a lot of sense.
Are you looking for consensus to fix it or no?
Well, not yet. I still got to get the 3rd quote, and then I'm gonna come to you for a budget amendment because we didn't budget
Increase the
16 grand for an AC.
Can we increase that amount to,
Luckily, fall's coming.
yeah. Are we gonna replace it or just fix it?
No, it's old. It's time. It's a full replacement.
That's cool.
Or we could buy those little fans to save money.
We're,
And
we're gonna get a couple of them this week, so we'll give them all the patty.
We'll just bring them back.
yeah, bring them back from the
Yeah,
league.
those
Thing.
little battery operated.
Yeah.
Okay, is that all?
That's all.
No other questions or comments from council?
Here you go.
Moving on to consent calendar. Items considered routine in nature are placed on the consent calendar. They will be considered and voted upon in one vote as one item unless council member or member of the public requests individual consideration. 4-1,
Take a drink of water.
approval of minutes, special meeting, August 29th, 2023. 4-2, approval minutes, regular meeting, September 5th, 2023. 4-3, approval second reading ordinance number 2023-06 and first reading of zoning map amendment number 2023-02, changing a portion of the zoning map from mixed use to professional office and medium density residential located on the north side of Hanford Ramona Road, east of Lemoore Avenue in the city of Lemoore. 4-4, approval second reading ordinance 2023-07, adopting zoning map amendment number 2023-03, changing a portion of the zoning map from mixed use to neighborhood commercial and high density residential located in the vicinity of Lemoore Avenue and Cinnamon Drive in the city of Lemoore. 4-5, approval second reading ordinance 2023-08, adopting zoning map amendment number 2023-04, changing a portion of the zoning map from mixed use to professional office, neighborhood commercial, and high density residential located in the vicinity of Bush and D Streets in the city of Lemoore. 4-6, approval second reading ordinance 2023-09, adopting zoning map amendment number 2023-05, changing a portion of the zoning map from mixed use to low density residential, medium density residential, and community facilities located in the vicinity north of College Avenue in the city of Lemoore. 4-7, approval second reading ordinance 2023-10, adopting zoning text amendment number 2023-01, modifying sections 9-2A71, planning permit and entitlements and review and appeal authority, 9-2B12, minor site plan and architectural review, 9-2B15, major site plan and architectural review, 9A5, description of land uses. I lost my place. 9-4B2, allowed uses and required entitlements for base zoning districts. 9-4D12, accessory dwelling units. 9-5A4A, development standards for residential zoning districts, and 9.5C3, design standards for residential projects of the city zoning ordinance in a way that will encourage more housing development in Lemoore. 4-8, approval second reading ordinance 2023-11, adopting ordinance text amendment number 2023-02, modifying sections of Title 8 Building and Development Regulations, Chapter 7 Land Division of the city subdivision ordinance in a way that will encourage more housing development in the city of Lemoore. 4-9, approval recordation of the final parcel map 2022-01 submitted by Hold My Beer LLC. 4-10, approval resolution 2023-31 to review and renew the declaration of a local emergency and the related declarations and orders therein. Now you guys can all wake up. And is there any questions or does anybody want to pull any items from the consent calendar?
I don't necessarily want to pull anything, but I think there's a typo on 4.4. I think we're referring to high density residential, and in the parentheses, it says PhD. I don't know if that was some kind of a new.
Should be R.
Should be an R, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. Let's change that. The other comment I would just make on the mini houses. I'd sure like to see some coordination between the planning and the police department on that zoning.
Is that
And
4-7?
in terms of
4-7 you're talking about?
yeah, 4-7.
I'm gonna pull 4-7, so maybe
Oh,
we
okay.
can
All right,
talk about that.
all right.
Okay.
Good.
Any other items?
I just
Councilor
had a
Bartu?
clarifying question. 4-3 has an amendment number 2023-2. And 4-8 has an amendment number 2023-2. Is that the same amendment? Is that a typo?
Modifying.
That it does.
Yeah. Yeah, there's two of them there.
Good catch.
4-8 and 4-3.
4-8 is a ordinance.
So they're the same numbers, different things. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else from council to pull or questions?
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to read over this as fast as I can, and I did it over the weekend too. And I guess the question is, does our
Are you
Right.
asking about 4-7 or something else?
I think it's 4-7, but it's gonna be. I know we have to stay in parameters, but I have a question. I think it's about 4-7. I'm gonna pull 4-7,
Okay,
but it's probably gonna, and 4-9, but it's probably gonna go off, Mary. I'm sorry, because I don't know if it's exactly falls into, my question falls under 4-7.
You could pull 4-7 and 4-9 so that we make sure
I
we
don't know. I'm
encompass it.
not 100% sure if my question falls into 4-9, 4-7.
Okay,
So it may be a little bit vague, so
it's okay.
try not to hit me too hard.
gotcha. So do you need to pull 4-9 or do you?
4-7 and 4-9.
Okay.
Does anyone from the public want to pull anything from the consent calendar? Seeing none, is there any online? Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar minus 4-7 and 4-9?
So move.
Second.
Shouldn't that motion be with the change in the typo?
You mean the PhD?
The
Or 4-4? Yeah.
RHD.
Do we need to?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So it'd be a motion with that, correcting the typo.
I'd like to amend my motion.
To amend the typo.
Second.
I would second the amended
I'd like
typo.
to amend the typo.
Thank you.
Good job.
Mayor Pro Tem Gornick,
Aye.
Councilman Orth,
Yes.
Councilman Lyons,
Yeah.
Councilman Garza,
Yes.
and I vote aye. The consent calendar without that passed. 4-7. So what is the question?
It's not a, it's just a. This is where it's gonna get me. Mary gonna yell at me. For the professional offices,
Yes.
we're gonna go into doctor's offices. Specifically doctor's offices. I don't know if the question I have is. Do we have any special licenses to have different types of doctor's offices? Like doctor's office that does radiology because they have, nuclear or whatever, do we
Radioactive material.
radioactive or do we have
Yeah.
any? And there's other doctor's offices that we can go into, but it's more of just a specifically, do we have conditional use permits for certain doctor's offices?
Yeah, no,
That may not, the community may not want in the community or radiatric ones or radioactive, like,
We- the.
I can be very specific if you want me to, but I prefer not to.
I'll answer it, what you asked. So the zoning matrix, obviously, as you've seen it before, it lists all different kinds of uses. I can't remember specifically how it is anymore, but I'm pretty sure a doctor's office is a type of use, a clinic is a different type of use, and then maybe a laboratory would be a different type of use. And they may be allowed or conditional in certain different zones, but again, for zoning, we regulate based on how that use is affects the community. So a clinic is going to have more traffic in and out happening, whereas a doctor's office, everything's scheduled. And so that affects how the parking works, how the traffic works. And so we don't get into, what they're doing inside the building quite as much as how it's affecting the community that they're in.
Like, for instance, I'll just give 2 examples and there's many more, but either a methadone clinic or an abortion clinic. Would we handle those two different categories as different as other ones or not? Or handle them all as a clinic, as a clinic, as a clinic?
We'd probably handle them the same. I mean, I would think they would probably, and again, I don't have it memorized, but they probably is a conditional, it's probably a conditional use permit. And then really, that's the whole point of making uses conditional, is that you can evaluate the specifics of that particular use, because either one of those clinics might be preferred in one location, but not preferred in another location. And so that's everything that you get to take into account when you're evaluating a conditional use permit, is where it's located, what it's going to be like, what its hours of operation are going to be. And you can set conditions based on that. So
Now, something like either one of those 2 clinics would come back to us for a condition or planning commission.
if it's a conditional use permit that's allowed, if it's a use that would be allowed in the zone with a conditional use permit, it would go to the planning commission for a decision and would only come to the council if someone appealed the decision of the planning commission.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments for 4-7? Mr. Warnick, did you have questions about that one?
Well, I just, this whole mini housing thing is or accessory dwelling units, I guess is the correct word, right?
Yes, accessory dwelling units.
Yeah.
What we used to call mother-in-law homes or granny flats.
Yeah.
Yeah, the state wants us to call them accessory dwelling units.
You haven't presented us or the planning commission with any standards for those, have you?
Yeah, that's really what's in part of the new ordinance, is the standards for what we can require. We really can
we can't require as much as we used to do. So for example, we used to require that the property owner live in either the main dwelling or the accessory dwelling, and the state has said you can't require that anymore. And that's a statewide law. So
if I wanted to call Home Depot and have them deliver me a 10 by 12 shed,
it still needs to meet building code for habitable unit. It's still an accessory dwelling unit. To qualify as an accessory dwelling unit, has to have a kitchen, has to have bathroom facilities and sleeping facilities.
Running
How-
If
water.
it's,
how
if
would
it's
we
a,
know?
if you just put down a 10 by 12 shed, we're not gonna call that an accessory dwelling unit, whether somebody wants to sleep in there or not. It's gotta be a full-fledged
do we
housing
know, do
unit.
we know how many of those already are in existence in our city?
I don't know exactly. It seems like, what are we approving? Maybe a handful a year? What's that? Yeah. So people are putting them in.
But the ones that we're approving have the bathrooms, have the,
Yes.
they're the.
I'm
Yeah,
talking
and they
about the
go
ones
through.
They're not the tough shed.
They're
this-
inspected.
and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
They're inspected just like any
Yeah.
other unit.
Yeah, but the ones that have,
You're referring to the tough shed.
the ones that are
Your
already in
son's living in a
existence that
tough
we,
shed,
that
or
we
my
just
son or
see in the neighborhoods that have popped up and they're not, they may not have, they made it in under the ordinance here. We have no way of,
Well, if something just popped up and we didn't inspect it, that's an illegal structure. I mean, we've been regulating them for years. It's just that the way that we're regulating them is going to be changing. But we've
can any of
actually
them be
been
two,
regulating for a
can
long
any of them
time.
be 2-story?
They can, but
Well-
there's a height limit. So, and I think there's a setback that they have to meet. So, or you mean, you could build one over a garage, or you could
Wow,
do all kinds of things. So,
okay. I mean, I just think that's a slippery slope, man. I just really do.
Okay.
In terms of quality of a neighborhood, you know.
I don't think the governor cares.
Well, I do.
I agree too. I just think he cares.
Any other questions or comments from council? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and open up to the public. Is there any public questions, comments? On 4-7? Seeing none, any online? I'll go ahead and bring it back to council for a motion to approve 4-7.
Motion to approve 4-7.
I'll second it.
So I have a motion by Councilman Lyons and a second by Councilman Orth. Councilmember Lyons,
Yes.
Councilmember Orth,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gornick,
No,
and Councilman Garza.
Yes.
And I vote yes. 4-9. What is your question? Throw the question out there and then we'll see where it goes.
Is it just that secondary shop, that secondary building?
Yeah, they're just splitting a lot and then they're planning on putting another 10 or 20,000 square foot warehouse.
Warehouse, and that's all that was?
For lease.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah,
I
they're just splitting the property, so
Somebody-
it's not one parcel, it'll be two now.
Yeah,
and then
somebody
he-
called me and asked me
Yeah,
and
he's
I,
gonna build another building on it and he's actually, I put him in touch with a few people that need a warehouse. They want to come to Lemoore and open up shop. So,
okay, so that's what his plan was, just to build it. Okay,
yeah.
that's what I thought that's what it was, but I didn't know if that was, so I've had 2 or 3 people ask me for 2 things: shop availability and
warehouse.
or warehouse availability and what they're gonna do. And so
Okay.
now I have the answer. Thank you. I'm good with that. I just wanted to confirm that they're building a second building.
Any other questions from council? Seeing none, I'll open it up to the public. Any questions or comments for 4-9? Any online? All right, I'll bring it back to council for a motion to approve 4-9.
Motion to approve 4-9.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Orth and a second by Councilman Lyons. Councilman Orth,
Yes.
Councilman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Garza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gornick,
Yes.
and I vote yes. There's no public hearings. Moving on to item 6, new business, 6-1, general fund revenue raising opportunities. Mr. Olson.
1 second as we queue up. This is just a brief summary of what we went through at the special meeting. This should actually be a pretty quick item. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. We talked about annual deficits and looking out in 2 years that the general fund would be potentially impacted if we don't get some more revenues into town. So currently revenues since 2018 have averaged about 8% increases. Our expenditures are rising about 12%. So obviously the lines are going to cross at some point. Bless you. Just some general information again to reiterate, since 2018, the city's sales tax revenue has increased by 85%. And we brought in an additional 2.8 million in cannabis revenue raising fees. So cannabis bringing in about $1 million a year on top of our sales tax. The objective here is to keep a balanced budget. So the only way we can do that currently is increase revenues, decrease expenditures, or a combination of both. And we came with a lot of data a few weeks ago, but I've had the opportunity to spend a little more time talking to some consultants and different things. And just because of the nature of what the ask or what the need is for the city, they're recommending that we would focus on a sales tax initiative and save like a TOT tax and some of your other user utility tax and things for a later day, because none of those things by themselves move the bar, and you don't want to have competing things on the ballot. But we'll get into that a little bit later. So staff would like to focus on option 1. And then a sales tax measure, again, it would impact the general fund revenues. We would go out for a general tax, so 50+1, so simple majority needed. The measure will help maintain fiscal stability and provide locally controlled funding to provide essential services. And approval of the city council is necessary in order for the measure to be placed on the November 2024 ballot. Here's just a kind of a history of our sales tax. Again, talk quite a bit about fuel as a huge driver of our revenues on our sales tax. So as fuel prices drop, we get a little bit less, but more people are traveling, so it kind of offsets. But when fuel prices go too high, we get more of a take. But when fuel prices get to a point where it impacts travel, we see an impact to our general fund. Again, we're at 7.25. That's the lowest in the state. Just like to point that out. We don't have any other. The only other tax we do have besides the cannabis fees that we charge to do business in the city would be the TOT tax at 8% on local hotels. We currently do not have any UUT taxes, parcel taxes, or things like that. This again was just numbers we threw out to show the impact of what the different sales taxes would do. A 1% sales tax would bring in about 3.3 million in additional revenue. 1.5% would be about 5 million. And then I think we went up as high as 2. It would be 6.7. Now, just for the record, nobody has ever gone after 2%. Ever. And this is where the conversation will go now. You got the next slide. Yeah, so our timelines now. Tonight, really what I'm here to ask is consensus from council to bring back a budget amendment at the next council meeting so we can start the footwork and start doing the polling opportunities and get the consultants online to see what actually is a viable option within our community and what we think we could pass for a tax, if anything. So current quotes I'm talking, we're looking at about $65,000 for polling and then consultants, but that gets us through all the way through to the election, the mailers and all that stuff. That would cover the cost of going forward with a tax. So that's kind of worst case scenario plus what the county fees. So in total, it'll be less than $100,000 to run an initiative. But we're looking at a deficit of 5.3 million in 2025, which would leave our general fund balance at about 2.8 million. So without a tax or without raising revenues, we'd have to shore the budget to stay operating by just making budget cuts. Essentially, we'd run out of money in 26, probably first quarter. And so all I'm looking for tonight is just council to give me consensus to prepare a budget amendment to bring back at the next meeting. And so we can go out and get the polling company in place, the consultant in place, so we can come back to council at a later date and give you the data, the facts, the outreach, and kind of tell you what else being driven by the consultants and the polling, the data. And it might be 0.5%, it might be 1.5%, it might be nothing. I don't know what it's gonna get us, but that's kind of the route I'd like to take.
Now, this is basically, you're gonna go out and find out what it's gonna cost us to do this?
Well, I have a soft quote for polling. I have a hard quote today. I just got it this afternoon, probably 4 o'clock. For the consultant to work with the polling company, and they've worked in tandem for other cities and they got a good track record. They're about 47,000 on the high end, but that gets you all the way through to the election and everything for that. Should we decide not to go this route, we won't need all that money, but that's worst case. So I'd probably come with a $65,000 budget amendment. That way I don't have to keep coming back, but whatever we didn't spend would go back. We just wouldn't use it. And the consultants and the polling will kind of give us an idea where the community's at to help us get the outreach out and kind of see where we stand. So we can come to council with a definitive, yes, we would like to go after X% on a tax. The data and the polling shows that our community supports this. And at that point, it would be on council's purview to say, okay, go ahead. And then we would put the ballot forward to our residents to vote on.
Any
I got one.
questions? Anybody have any questions or comments?
I have no issues really with, the expenditure to do it. I guess my real question is, what are we gonna tell these, or, two things. Number one, I still don't think we have a handle on this year's budget. I mean, the budget we're proposing for next year. Right, we're sitting with a balance of what, 8.3?
Well, we're anticipating to have 8.1 million in reserves June 30th of 24.
Right.
Right.
So at the end of this.
At the end of 25.
No, at the end of this budget year.
We'll have 8.1 million in reserves.
Right. But you showed in the very first slide that our expenditures are 4% higher than
our revenues.
In
Correct.
this current year.
Well, that's the trend since 18. So we took data from 18 through 23, and that's the averages of revenues and expenditures over the last 5 years.
I understand.
We didn't use a single year, we used multiple years.
I understand that. But you would anticipate then that if we continue that trend, so in June then 30, you would want us to approve you to take money out of the reserve to cover that.
Yes, like we did this year, yes.
Yeah.
And depending on where we get on this, because we'll have a lot of polling data before we actually come for next year's budget, we'll know what we can fair or not fair, so we'll have a much clearer picture. And we would bring a new budget to you. And if the budget or if the data doesn't show as good of an increase, then we will bring a streamlined budget or a budget with some impacts to the community on it, just to be able to pay the bills.
Any other questions or comments from council?
So this is just, I just want to make this as crystal clear as I can. This is only to find out our polling information.
Yeah, this would get us set up to be able
For
to come
the-
back to council at a future date with the consultants and say, okay, we polled and this is what we feel can pass. So
I'd
we're
like
not
to
making
have-
any decision on a percentage or anything to.
I'd like to have a discussion with the consultants on what they want to ask.
Yeah, so they'll meet with staff, we'll tailor it. They'll want to know what the need is, what the impacts of not passing it will be. So we'll give them all that information. I don't see why they couldn't come here and have a study session so you can ask them questions.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with that, but the timelines wise, they say we should probably start November-ish and then be ready to hit hard.
Sooner the better.
Yeah, well, what happened to us last time is, PD was out door knocking and stuff like that. And a lot of people had already sent their ballots in, like we were a day late and $1 short. So people had already voted before we actually got to them. It was kind of a hurried last minute effort. So want to make sure we don't do that again. And that, we get the biggest bang for our buck, so to speak, going after this.
I'd like to make a comment also. So yeah, exploring, if we were to say, yeah, let's start this, right? I still want you to kind of report on some of the revenues that we're still, trying to get, like the new people coming in, the companies. So I just don't want, like, if we give you the okay to do this, we stop, looking for revenue. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, correct.
Okay.
That'll never happen. And in
Yeah.
order for those revenues to continue at 8%, that's our economic development is included in that number, is why it's not called out. So that helps with the businesses that we're continuing to bring in.
Yeah. So with the polling and everything, I'd like that
Yep.
also to be reported on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else from council?
And obviously that money is gonna come from our savings account.
Yeah, I'll be bringing a budget amendment to pull, right now it's looking like I'm gonna ask for probably 65,000 to be transferred from the general fund over to the city clerk's professional services account. And that's where these expenditures will lie. But like I said, that would be worst case scenario if that's to take it all the way through to an election. I mean, if the data comes back and it's like, yeah, it's a hard pass, then we won't have to expend those dollars and they just go back into the reserves.
Who's the group you got in mind? Or did you do an RFP?
That was my next question.
Gene, oh gosh.
I mean, if you gotta go.
I know
out-
it's Gene and Rochelle. I know their names. I just got the quote from one today. The other one's a verbal and he's out of town for the next 2 weeks. So I
you
haven't
got- you
gotten
have
his
to get
original
3
quote.
quotes.
But I got these individuals from Ken Deeker, who is our bond counsel that helped us with our bond several years ago. So he's given me 2 polling companies and then 2 consultants that they all kind of work together in groups to bring these things to fruition. So far I've only made contact with 3 out of the 4 and I'm playing a little phone tag, but that's why I got kind of TBD on here. And I just know the one is going to be about 45 plus 20. So I don't have hard numbers yet and I don't have hard quotes from people yet. So I'm hoping to get those in this week or definitely before the next council meeting
Yeah,
to bring
that
to
sounds good.
council. But
I certainly would appreciate a study session on this. I don't know about the rest of the council, but just this one item would be certainly. It's a big item for
This
us.
is a big item and big ask,
mhm.
especially at $6 diesel.
Well, they're also reporting on the news that with the new lawsuit that California is filing against the big oil companies, right now they're saying gas prices are going to double or triple in California as a result of that lawsuit.
Of course.
And there's a second recession that's potentially heading this way. That was on the news as well. So it is not an ideal time at all. I mean, it's never a good time, in my opinion, to go ask people to give you more money, right, on a tax or a fee, but
Yeah, but a
it's-
sales tax
sometimes
gets
it's
everybody
needed. Yeah,
equally,
sometimes it's
in
needed.
that regard. So,
let's see, Rochelle.
Did you get your question answered?
Yeah.
Do you have to get 3 bids or could you just pick one or
No, on professional services,
you don't have to?
we don't have to go out and get 3 bids, but I am looking at people in the industry to give recommendations and then trying to find a polling firm and a consultant firm that
Works
have
together.
worked together and have a good track record of passing these things when they get together.
I just didn't know if you had to do 3 bids. That's cool.
Not by, no, I don't, but I will absolutely have them come up and take questions from.
I noticed on the presentation last time I was struck by Porterville
Mhm.
with the numbers that had all kinds of things.
Yeah, so Porterville's at 9.25% sales tax. They're the highest in California.
Right.
And they also have a 5 or 6% user utility tax that generates another 5 or 6 million a year.
So I was just wondering if any of those companies have worked with Porterville. So,
I could check. Porterville's been up there for quite a while, but yeah, the one I got today, I just scanned to the bottom, but she has everybody in their office with their basically their mini resumes and what they've done. So I do have that for one, but like I said, it came in late afternoon, so I just looked at the price to kind of give a ballpark, but I'll be coming back with about a $65,000 ask from council.
I'm comfortable with that number and
So am I.
us having a study session, to focus on that.
Now, for my clarity, can I bring the budget amendment next meeting and schedule a study session after, or do you want them around the same night?
What would you rather do?
I'm gonna need the money no matter who we hire, so I would just assume I should have probably actually brought a budget amendment tonight, but
Tonight.
I wanted to give you guys time to think about it and not have to make a decision tonight.
Don't let
And
us
just
think
come
too
with the
long.
ask, so I'll bring the budget amendment.
Thank you for
in 2
that, but I
weeks.
don't know if I want to think too much on that. Yeah. Whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
whatever.
bring the budget amendment in 2 weeks, and hopefully by then I'll have data from 4 companies to compare, and then the
Can-
ones I do bring in, we'll have come up and talk.
Can
to
you do them
council.
both? Or no, you want us to chew on it some more?
Pardon me?
Do it both, do the budget amendment and bring them as a study session the same night?
No, I want to bring a budget next meeting,
Okay.
and then as soon as we get the consultants on board, I'll
Oh,
bring them up
give
for a
them
study session
opportunity.
at a later date.
Good. Okay.
Is there any public comment on this issue?
Of course.
No, Alex.
Alex wants to.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Good evening. I wanted to make a couple comments regarding this item. And I wanted to first preface that nobody likes paying taxes. I'm myself included, but I did want to emphasize the importance of telling the truth, especially if we are going to go this route and campaign for it. We actually have to campaign for it and not, pardon my French, sit on our asses about the bond and just hopefully it passes. And reflect on Rotary, the 4-way test. Is it the truth? Tell the truth to paint the picture of the situation we're in. I think the city is doing a fantastic job taking this seriously, executing its fiduciary responsibility to take care of our city. But this is a very serious issue. And I also appreciate that staff is recommending option 1. I think this is probably the best approach, given the data that we received at the previous study session, that the other potential options wouldn't have the same benefits and also the same output that we would like to see. For there, I also wanted to advocate in favor of having a sales tax approach, because at the previous study session where we talked about cutting and these were just examples, I know you're just speaking hypothetically, but potentially cutting the police department, parks department, I think that's the worst possible approach, cutting services that our residents depend on. Our police department already works above and beyond on one beat when it should be more than that. And I wanted to advocate for them in receiving the funding that they need to keep our community safe, but also our parks department that keeps our community, keeps dollars in Lemoore, because that's also needs part of the strategy. In long term, I've been advocating for this almost nearly every time I come to talk about Rotary too. But I think in order to have a full grasp and understanding of the situation we're in, we have to do a wage study. It is important to understand what we should be paying our employees, because loyalty can only bring you so far, in addition to a rate study to better understand what we could be collecting as an additional revenue source. And overall, I think as a long-term strategy, this will be beneficial, especially if we ever get power from PG&E to get more businesses open, to have more revenue coming in that way. But I do think this approach is going to be helpful for our city. And I encourage, again, being direct and honest with the residents when we're doing this polling, so we have a full understanding of the situation. And again, advocating for that wage study for our employees so we can pay them what they deserve. And also, so when we're fixing this issue, we're fixing the whole issue, not in pieces. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Mr. Reed?
Before I have any more. Since we have a 7.25 sales tax, Porterville has a 9.25. Do we know what the median point is in the state for sales tax?
I have the data. I could run the median number, but I do not have that off the top of my head.
Okay, I could suggest.
We
that-
did a lot of the Central Valley kind of compared us to towns, communities of kind of similar nature and close to us, because that's who we can compete against.
But
But
it
we
might,
can get that data.
it might be nice to know what the whole state.
Yep.
What it is. If it's the median point falls at 8.25, we could maybe easily go for 1%, just my thing. Got something else in mind. Can't remember what it is. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment?
I have one quick comment. So just like tonight, when earlier I said that it's gonna, our first quote for an AC for this building is $16,000. Okay, so what that means from a sales tax revenue, because this is a full general fund expenditure for this building, is our businesses have to sell $1.6 million worth of merchandise for the city to collect enough money to pay for one air conditioner. So 1%, I mean, it takes a lot of sales to generate money. So 1.6 million in sales to replace one air conditioner. It's just kind of perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That and with more people buying from Amazon and online shopping, and I know a lot of Lemoore citizens, I hate to say, they go to Hanford to go to Costco or whatever. It all takes a toll, a big toll, and it's getting more and more and more prevalent every day, not just from some of us, but most.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns from council? Oh, sorry, go ahead for public comment online.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Jennifer Solis, 757 Redwood Lane. Sorry. I was glad Nathan, what he said about the educating what he just said about the shopping in the community and keeping it there. And I had come up with some ideas about how we could educate the community and do marketing on that. So I am curious if that's something that whoever you're hiring can do as well, do in the education. That's kind of what we did last time with Measure K. It was like, this is what, things cost in the area. This is what the tax, here's what you can find, things like that. So I'm hoping we can do that again, because if we're going out to the community door to door, then we can educate them also on like how the numbers and how their choices are affecting our parks, right? Like you go to Walmart and that means that, tax revenue goes to Hanford Parks, Hanford Roads, Hanford Police. So I think that would be good to make sure that we're advertising it at the same time. Thanks.
Thank you. Just for the record, I did ask Hanford about what's it called?
Share.
An allowance because of all of the
bleed
that we have going to Hanford. I was shot down. So I did try. I put the effort out there, but yeah, they're not willing to give up any of their money, but
They blame us for the homeless. They say they're paying for the homeless, so.
don't get me started.
Good.
They are.
Any other questions, comments from council? Seeing none. Oh, you have something?
Well, I was just kind of curious. Under 6-1, consensus was asked for.
Right.
It was not given.
Not yet, because we had to open up to the public. So if there's no other questions or comments, then
Okay, that's where we're at.
yes.
I gotcha.
Okay, no other questions or comments? Then I'm looking for consensus.
It's good.
Looks like you have full consensus.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Moving on to 7-1, city council reports and requests.
Why does it say brief anymore?
It doesn't, it's, you're seeing things.
Uh-huh. I need to come back.
Councilman Garza.
Yeah, I just want to thank Mr. Walker again for his wonderful Rotary presentation. I'll have to admit, during your presentation, I started looking for somebody to go with me to this thing. So good job.
I'll sell you some tickets, sir.
How much are the tickets?
$80. All you can eat crab, tri-tip, bean pork, dessert, salmon live auction, alcohol.
Are they part of that 1% sales tax?
It does keep dollars in Lemoore.
It
There
does.
you go.
Sure does.
Is it cold or
Thank you.
hot crab?
It's cold crab.
That's all I have.
Would it make a difference?
Yeah.
Hot butter something.
Yeah, Ms. Walker, thank you, sir, for your presentation. Chief, thank you as always for the fire department or the police department for everything they do. Nathan, I do have a question. 400 D Street, the
Yes.
flower shop. Where are we at with that building? Are we doing anything? Are we?
Yeah, we started the abatement process on that building probably a year ago, and the owner did produce a letter from their engineers that they were retained to work on the curb gutter out in front to kind of clean that corner up from that perspective. But I believe the engineer said they were probably 2 years out from actually being able to do anything. So talking to the construction company that did the renovation on the government building. And gonna see what he has to say, but we'll probably be right now, if we don't get any action or can't get that building sold, it'll probably end up getting knocked down and then leaned to the city.
Okay, and then the Kmart building. Or
Still, we have meetings lined up at ICSC for some potential people. I know Retail Strategies continues to reach out. Like they had reported out, they've had 3-4 pretty solid offers on the building, and they're not moving.
and I know that you were talking about or thinking about buildings that stay vacant for X amount of time.
Yes, that's coming to council in the near future.
Okay.
We'll be placing monthly fees on buildings that are sitting empty for an extended period of time to kind of give them a little push to get it open.
An incentive.
Little thorn, I guess.
We're gonna
but-
do square footage or we're gonna do just a straight flat?
Well, right now it's straight flat fees,
Should do square footage.
but it'll come back as an agenda item. We'll have conversations.
Sorry, Mary.
Just yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you,
Well,
sir.
I'd like to start off by sending out prayers to LA County Sheriff's Department. If you guys have not heard, they lost one this weekend at a very, very horrific act of cowardice by somebody. Just so everyone knows, they did capture. I talked to an LA County Sheriff's deputy this morning. They did capture the perpetrator who, if you guys didn't know, killed one of their deputies over the weekend. They did capture him, and his dad turned him in. His dad did turn him in. They had to tear gas him out of his dad's house after his dad turned him in, but they got him. So I want to take out prayers to them because they're going to have a pretty big loss with that. Anytime we lose somebody like that, it's horrible. So prayers out to them, please, and prayers out to our fire and police because it's a tough job and it's hard. I get to go to Sacramento to help represent along with a bunch of others for League of Cities. So we get to do training all week and have fun. Not really have that much fun, but enjoy our education. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just again, Alex, good job. Appreciate that. Nathan, good job. I'm glad we're moving this forward on this sales tax initiative. I like that first option as well. And I just think that the citizens need to know that public safety, police and fire, and our community recreation areas, I'm tired of the pocket parks. You know, we need to have bigger and better things for our youth to do. And and that costs. And so I think we've got to step up in that regard. So looking forward to those conversations.
Thank you, sir. Let's see, I did attend the ribbon cutting for a Red Cross donation from Bank of Sierra in Porterville for the donation of an emergency response vehicle. It's pretty cool. Lots of nifty things in there. So I think that's going to benefit all of us. That vehicle is going to be all over the place. It can go anywhere the Red Cross goes. So definitely a huge donation and one that will be well used. I also attended Mr. Woloshin's service on Monday. It was very well attended. It was good to see some of our Public Works Department out there, also paying their respects. I want to give a shout out to the Parks and Rec Department. I also attended the NFL flag football on Saturday. It went really well. All the parents were well behaved. The players were well behaved. It was great. You wouldn't know that 3 people run that department by the way that it goes. You would think there's a lot more people involved. So I just wanted to thank them for all they do and thank them for doing everything with excellence. So it definitely shows. And just wanted to, if you could pass that along, that great job. Also, I'm very sad that I will not be able to attend Officer Ellsworth's swearing in. I think this will be the first one that I've missed as a council member. I hope that one of the council members staying back may be able to attend. Just throwing that out there. I also want to, so Cal City's delegate that we voted was for Councilman Garza to be our delegate. They're doing things a little bit different this year. They also don't have any resolutions currently, so you may get off scot-free this year. So I'm just saying that I'm going to throw it out there that that you continue to next year, and you're getting off
Respectfully decline that.
you're getting off too easy this year. You're not getting initiated. So just throwing it out there. So be prepared. I also want to make a request. I've been asked if I know the public does use the police department area for exchanges for online purchases, etc. But I was asked if we could have a designated exchange zone with potential video surveillance at PD, or at least signage notating that. So I just wanted to throw that out there for maybe future consideration. Also, I did learn a new word today, braggacious. Is that how you say it?
You're asking the wrong guy to pronounce things.
Well, you said it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that
I
up.
think so.
Is it a real word?
I believe so.
Okay.
I used to like the word.
Yes,
Sure did.
I was right there with
Yeah,
you.
it's all food.
Gradacious or Gregdocious?
He said braggacious.
I'm right, mispronounced it. I was.
Braggadocious.
Where's Michelle when you need her?
Right.
That woman has got the best vocabulary of anybody I know.
So with that, that's all I have. And thank you for all the city employees for everything that you do. We couldn't be a city without all of you. So thank you all.
Awesome.